up, everybody? I hope you guys can see me. Facebook likes to freeze when you push the button. We are going to do some weekly Q&A. Just a quick little announcement before we get started, which is, I think Facebook just lost me for a second. Oh, there I am. Okay. For those of you guys who are regular watchers of this Q&A, you guys who like to check out the replays of this on YouTube and get a lot of value from this, we did a mastermind call called the Energy Efficient Leverage Machine, and I would love to give you guys this kind of exclusive thing. Usually people have paid me a lot of money to hear this kind of thing, but I think it's going to help so many of you guys who do this with your structure, because what we're doing is we're creating a way where you can build an agency, deliver the same thing over and over and over, have people manage the system, and also be multiplying your money in the background. So you basically, like, your income to work ratio becomes really, really high. So you earn a lot and do a little, and you're delivering a lot of value for clients and make them really, really happy. So if you guys are interested in a recording of that, I don't want to announce this publicly because people have paid a lot for this, but for those of you guys who've been following this a while, I think it'll be really valuable to you. So just send me a private message and I will send you a recording of that free training called the Energy Efficient Leverage Machine. Okay, so I think it's about time we get into some Q&A. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Frankie Finn proudly brings you our weekly Q&A. All right. So let's see what you guys got. I love seeing the progress in your agencies, by the way. You guys are making some huge headway, and it's really crazy because I love that you guys have that mindset of bringing value to people and building real businesses and giving yourself a cool life in the meantime. German says, how would you do a strategy for local ads? It's a low-ticket retail store selling party supplies. For Google, for Facebook, what would your funnel look like? Share your thoughts. Firstly, German, I think there's an assumption in there, and it assumes that the solution is a funnel or a Google ad or a Facebook ad. Sometimes it is. Often it is, but I don't automatically go there. So I'll tell you what I first look at is the simple question of, like, who's buying party supplies. So obviously there's going to be like the mom who buys the party supply because it's her kid's birthday. But I think about, like, deeper, like, who are the power buyers of party supplies? And I mean the people who aren't just buying party supplies here and there, but are buying them over and over and over and over again. And I'll tell you just some things that jumped out to me are like wedding ceremonies, and like people who do like proms and dances and things like that. Like, they're going to be putting together some big parties, and you can probably follow that line of theme, but let's just go with, like, wedding ceremonies, for example. What my line of thinking is, how can I make an irresistible offer to those wedding ceremonies? Because if I bring that to a client, if I bring them somebody who's going to buy party supplies like 100 days out of the year, that's going to be more valuable than bringing them a one-off thing. And you'll be able to charge a lot more for that in your agency. So before I build a funnel, I think about making an offer to the people before any technology is introduced. Now, the question I have is, what is the best way to reach the wedding planners in that area, and what is the least crowded way? I might personally actually do a direct mail in this situation, get a list of those people. But having said that, you could probably figure out how to target them on Facebook. So it's really up to you. But that's where my mind goes. If you've got a party supplier, who are the people who are spending big money with party suppliers? Because if you just bring them 1, 2, 3 of the right buyer, you can dramatically change their business. And as a result, like, it'll be an easier deliverable that you can charge a lot more money for and have a lot more moving pieces. Like, you may be able to do that with one little letter, of course, as you can hear my neighbor dog barking for no reason. Hope that's helpful, German. I know that's a little bit different. A lot of times if you guys listen to me, you'll find that my answer for things is different than everybody else's. Gilbert says, what are some of your best strategies for increasing your show rate? I'll share a little story with you on that, Gilbert. I had a show rate for one of my agencies for a couple of years where I was the salesperson. My show rate would be less than 40%, less than 50%. So meaning, like, I would get 40 calls a week booked and only 20 of them would show up. And I struggled with this for a lot of years, and we had Schedule Once, also known as Once Hub. And what would happen is everybody said, like, do more registration or more notifications to let people know that there is, like, an upcoming appointment. So they would get text message reminders, they would get email reminders. And it turned out the solution for us wasn't email reminders or text message reminders. It was kind of like letting these people know the value they were going to get on the call. And the way we did this, and I didn't come up with this idea, I borrowed this from a friend much smarter than me, the most successful entrepreneurial friend I have, my brother Rob, who's in this group. And Rob said what we do is we send an automated voice message that just says, hey, thank you so much for your booking, and we're glad to have you on this call. Just so you know, here's what we're going to cover. If you have any questions, you let me know. If you need to reschedule, you should get an email. And just so to help you remember, I've sent you a couple automated reminders. And what we found is that took our show up rate from like 50% to like 95 plus. It was like almost automatic that people would show up. And I found that to be the single most helpful thing. So if you're interested in doing that, we used with technology. It was Zapier and Sly Broadcast. It was really, really cheap to do. It all cost like maybe a penny or 2 pennies, and you send somebody an automated recording, and then they're much more likely to show up for the call because they've heard your voice. You're a real person. You're not just an internet calendar anymore. Kenneth, looking for some help regarding a local business who sells beds. The main objective or goal is to get more customers to the store and sell beds, of course. And what kind of ad campaign can I run for this one? They're not supposed to make an appointment. Anyone have some ideas? Kenneth, first of all, obviously if you want to sell beds, like I would tell you, what's up, Brother Hetty? I would say if you want to sell more beds for this company, you don't automatically have to bring more people in the store to buy more beds. In fact, one of the simplest things you could do is like a little referral campaign. Now, having said that, the first thing that I would probably try, and this is a more fundamental thing, is because ultimately, before you even like decide who you're going to show it to, you have to have like some kind of valuable offer. So what I might ask the bed store is like one of 2 questions, maybe even both, is like, what's the bed that is your most successful item that everybody's buying already? Or I might say, like, what's your most successful promotion you've ever had to date? And I would start with something that's proven to work on most people. And that's what I would lead with whatever ad or campaign that I put out in the real world. Because, like, if you're going to, have to sell and generate business, say, through Facebook ads or something like that, it really helps to know that, like, this product is already proven to be a winner and is going to sell. So that's what I would kind of do with that. And then the other thing is, you could always just run the old-fashioned, like, hey, we got a giant blowout event, like this is proven throughout history. And the reason why we're selling a bunch of beds is because we accidentally over-ordered, and now we have twice the beds we need, so everything's half off. Come on in to Frankie's Bed Emporium, like things like that. They're cheesy, but they work. But this is really key, Kenneth, is if a client is selling things today and it's working, you don't want to reinvent the wheel. You want to start with like what is known to win, because it'll give you a huge advantage. What's up, Shri? Good to see you, brother. I know you're building out that massive YouTube channel of yours. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Anarud. How do I fulfill an SEO service? Can I target a medium-sized business online? I mean, there's really only 2 ways, my friend, that you can. Sorry, I lost my place for a second. Let me just reread that. There's only 2 ways you can fulfill on an SEO service. Number 1 is you get good at SEO and you understand like all the ranking factors and you do it yourself, or you have a team of people to do it, but you're responsible. And then the other way is white label, where you find somebody who already has that skill set and they allow you to be able to resell their services. Considering in your case, it would probably make more sense to start with a white label if you don't already know how to do SEO. It is a steep learning curve. You can get good at it, but it probably takes a year or 2, and you'll have you can skip that year or 2 of learning curve if you just work with somebody who already has that skill set. Our man Shri says top prospecting methods for now. Shri, I don't necessarily look for like a prospecting methodology. I look for the principles that never change, and then I create my own methodologies. So like there's questions I like to ask myself. For example, like one of the things I'll ask is, who's the right person for this business? Who are the people who buy a lot of it? What's an irresistible offer for those people? And then I create my methods out of it. So like to give you a real life example, like we just ran a campaign for lawyers, and I thought about who are the lawyers who could like immediately benefit from this today, because they already have all the pieces in place. And so I wrote a personalized message in a direct mail campaign and sent it to those guys. And we ended up getting like, I don't know, 2/3 of them, right? Like, and I didn't have to send a ton of messages or anything. And that's kind of more our style in the beyond agency profits kind of thing, is being more intentional. Is like, I know everybody says you got to to talk to 20,000 buyers, and you got to do 400 sales calls, and you can build a business that way. But you can also build a business sending 3 messages that are very personalized, very targeted, with an irresistible offer, get those people in, bring them on as clients, and not have to do a shit ton of work. So that comes out of, like I said, is when you understand the principles, then you can create your own thing. So like one of the principles, for example, is Tim Ferriss says, like, what's the least crowded channel? So I think of that about that a lot when I'm trying to reach a client. Is I'm like, what's the way that not everybody else is trying to reach them? How can I zig when everyone else is zagging and make it stand out? So like we use direct mail recently because nobody uses direct mail anymore. But if all of a sudden like a bunch of marketers started doing direct mail and it made more sense to be on TikTok, then I would move to TikTok, right? It wouldn't necessarily change. But that's the key with when you're prospecting is, like have an offer that stands out from the noise. Like everything you're doing should be different. You should be targeting them differently. You should be getting in front of them differently. You should be giving them an offer that's different than everybody else. If you do that, your methods will always work better. So I always just start with like trying to think about what's most valuable to the other person, and then reaching them second. Hope that's helpful, my friend. Carlos says, good morning all. Since for me it's a landmark and I'm pretty stoked about it, I thought I'd share that by focusing on a niche I relate to and feel comfortable with. I have my first win. Here it is, and my website is not even finalized yet. So thanks, Frankie Finn, for the valuable advice. Carlos, this wasn't really so much a question, but I just thought I had a little rant that other people would benefit from, which is part of what we kind of talked about is you were considering a couple of niches, and this has happened to a lot of people in the last 2 years. Like the COVID madness has created a lot of reason for people to pivot and enter new niches or try new things, or some of you guys are getting into it for the first time. The thing with it is when selecting niches, most people think about the lowest thing they could get. Like, I bet I could pay a dentist to pay me. And what I talked to Carlos about is like, who are the people who would be the most fun, the most interesting, where you think, holy crap, I can't believe I get paid to work with these people, kind of things. And when you do that, like, you end up creating a better niche and a better offer, and you want to do more for those people because they're really cool people. And so what ends up happening is when usually considering a niche, most people look at, do they have money as the first factor, but I actually think there's 2 other factors that are more important, because every niche has money to a certain extent. There's people in every niche with money, or there wouldn't be a niche, right? There wouldn't be a niche if there wasn't somebody in there who had some money and was getting the money. So before that, I like to think about, like, would the niche be fun? And do I have experiences that would benefit these people, right? Because if you can relate to them, it just helps and makes the whole thing easier. And if you do those, if you do all 3, where it's a fun niche, you relate to people, and you have valuable experience, and then you focus on the people within the niche who have money, then like the whole business is fun to grow and it's easy to grow. And then you'll find you can get clients without even having a website, like as Carlos mentioned. And I actually have a friend, some of you guys will know her name's Kat Howell, who built a $300,000 a month agency and then built her website, right? Like, you don't have to have a website and all these marketing materials if you do that in a way that's awesome. Shri says, awesome, appreciate it, man. I know you sent the group mentoring, but how can I get on some one-on-one with me? I want to get to 1 million. Let's talk about that privately, Shri. That is a good question, and those are some pretty awesome goals. Dennis says, hey guys, how do you price your social media marketing services, social media management, and ad account management? Thank you. Here's the thing, okay, so I'll tell you, Dennis, most people, at least as far as I can tell, price their social media management like, I charge this much for 5 posts a week, or you get 1 Google My Business update, you get 5 pieces on your Facebook page and things like that, especially people who do the organic stuff. I think that's a unsustainable model, and I would never personally price myself like that, where you get some like off-the-shelf quantity thing instead of like a result-based thing. So I think it's better to focus on what I've talked about as the $100 bill in the niche, the like really expensive, valuable service or product that your client sells, and helping them to use social media to get those people. So like, in the dentist niche, for example, like what I call the nickels, all the cheap people that you can get hundreds of people who come in for a checkup, right? And the dentist might collect $99 or $149 or something like that. But you can also help a dentist bring a $35,000 set of veneers. That's the $100 bill. And so what I'm saying in this is you'll make your social media service far more valuable if you focus on who's the $100 bill in my niche and how can I generate results using social media, and you'll provide far less activity for the client in most cases, right? Because the other thing with those kind of posts is clients are basically essentially paying you for quantity and activity, so you always have to deliver activity and justify what you're doing, as where when you focus on the result, they're just happy if the phone rings and it's the kind of person they want to talk to, and you don't really have to move mountains to do that. Like, especially like, I was talking to one of our mastermind members about focusing on a personal injury type of case that's worth $250,000. Like, how many $250,000 cases do you got to bring to a client for them to be thrilled with your existence, right? You can bring them one in a year and they'll think you're the greatest agency ever, as where you can make 450 social media posts and they'll still be disappointed with you, right? So that's my kind of 2 cents on that, is price yourself based on results and you'll be able to raise your rates and you'll be able to do less and you'll be more of a specialist who earns income based off of what you produce rather than being paid off of like your busyness. I hate being paid for busyness. That to me is like what a job is. And then you end up with a boss who tells you, oh, I want my posts more like this, I want them more like that, as where if you're just generating $250,000 cases, they're any way it works, they're happy with, so price it based on the result. That's the long and gist of it. Alex says, any affordable or entry-level paid proposal softwares that this group recommends? I don't use any proposal software, Alex. I have seen the name Better Proposals tossed out there, but I'm going to give you a curveball, as I usually do with people. I wrote a lot of proposals in my SEO agency for like a lot of years, and they were always custom proposals. I experimented with a lot of software, and the conversion rates were always just a little bit lower. And the personalized things were like a lot of work. Like, it would take me 1 hour to 2 hours to make every single proposal. And there was a part in my agency where I was making 7 to 10 proposals a week. So that's 10, 15 hours of work every week. And I learned something as I got deeper on in the game, that proposals are a function of an offer that's not easy to say yes to. Because I don't do any proposals anymore in my agency. And if somebody says, can you send me a proposal? I just don't do it. I was like, hey, we're probably not a right fit. If you want to see a proposal, if this isn't an automatic yes or no, I totally understand, but I'm not going to do a proposal. Or I might do just okay, but I'm going to summarize it in 3 sentences. That's all my proposal will be. Are you cool with that? And here's the deal with proposals, is usually when clients ask for proposals, it's because you're in a box. Your service is in a box like SEO, where they can see you as a commodity they can buy off the shelf, meaning hey, there's 10 other SEO people, so let's get proposals from 10 SEO people and we'll evaluate them. And often what happens is when they get proposals from you, they don't even read them, and you spend weeks chasing people going, dear sir, madam, can you let me know? Have you read my proposal yet? Sorry, haven't got to it yet. We'll contact you on Friday. And then Friday comes and goes, and you end up chasing people, and it's this whole thing. And all of that happens because the offer is easy, or is not easy to say yes to. And I'll give you an example of this, okay? So when we used to do SEO in the beginning, it was just hey, I do SEO for plastic surgeons. I had a niche. It was mostly plastic surgeons. But it wasn't a super strong offer. It was basically, it was most other SEO offers, where it's pay me for a long time and hopefully we'll get you to #1 in Google at the end, but no guarantees because they're crazy. And I'm really good at this, so hopefully I can get you some results. That was my offer in the beginning. Later on, I had a client who came to me and said, hey, I really want mommy makeover patients. And by the way, that's their $100 bill in their niche. So when he said to me, I want a bunch of mommy makeover patients, he said, would you be able to build me a website that just sells mommy makeovers? And we said, yeah, we could build you a specialty website. And then he said to me, could you optimize it for mommy makeover searches? And I said, yeah. And he said, and could you get us in front of those? Could you rank us in those? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, how much would I forget what we agreed to on a price, but how much would that be? We worked out a price. What I found out is every time I would tell another plastic surgeon about that, they just wanted it. They just wanted the mommy makeover optimized site. Sometimes the details would change. Some guys wanted a nose job, some guys wanted a facelift, but they all liked having their one specialty procedure, their $100 bill they wanted more of. And we would build it and rank it. And I never ever had a problem selling that. And both of those are fundamentally SEO. The example where I'm hey, work with me a year and hopefully I'll get you ranked, versus the mommy makeover site. And so that's my way of saying, when you have the mommy makeover site, like the desirable offer for whatever that is in your niche, they don't ask you for a fucking proposal. They just say, I want that. How much is it? And they'll give you their credit card. So if you're in a situation, is my way of saying, instead of trying to find a proposal software, what I would suggest is work on making your offer easier to say yes to so that you don't ever have to make a proposal again. That's my experience. If you love making proposals, by all means go for it, but I hated it. It was just a necessary evil for a lot of years. And so I think you can avoid it entirely and not have to do any of that shit, and you'll just have more fun with your agency. And yeah, just a quick heads up, just as a reminder for those of you guys who are catching this halfway through, we did an awesome training in our mastermind a couple of months ago called the Energy Efficient Leverage Machine. For those of you guys who watch these Q&As, I know you guys are working in the trenches, making your agencies better. I'd be happy to send you that training. I just ask that you keep it on the down low because, you know, it's a private mastermind thing. A lot of people have paid a lot to be in our mastermind. And so it's just for you guys who are like super enthusiasts of this stuff, my way of saying thank you. What you'll get on that training is really like how to build an agency that, like how to design it intentionally so that you can handle 50 clients with ease. You're doing the same thing for all of them. It's all copy and paste for the most part. Employees are managing the machine for you. You have the whole thing systematized and organized. And not only that, as the machine generates money for you, you're reinvesting the profits into things that produce money. So your money is constantly growing in the background, and therefore you can have like a really cool lifestyle and some happy clients, and you know, have some flexibility in that. So if you're interested, I think it's one of the most important calls we've ever done, which is one of the reasons I kind of like can't keep it under lock and key forever. But if you guys are interested, send me a PM and I will send you that video and you can check that out. Just again, it's my way of saying thank you, so there's nothing you got to do or anything like that. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys in this weekly Q&A. So thank you so much for the awesome questions. Much love for you guys, and may the force be with you.